we're going to talk about how to transform your morning coffee from, a total game of chance into an actual act of science. I'm going to show you how to get that perfect cup every single time, not by some kind of luck, but by following a proven scientific map. So you've totally been there, right? One morning, you brew a cup that is just divine, absolutely perfect. The next day, you swear you do the exact same thing, and it tastes, well, just flat out disappointing. It's got to be one of the most frustrating things about loving coffee. But what if I told you that inconsistency doesn't have to be your reality? The secret to consistently great coffee isn't some magic trick or just, getting lucky. It's a map. It's a guide that shows you exactly where you are with your brew and how to get to that delicious destination. Okay, so let's dive right in. First things first, we need to understand the enemy. We got to identify the common off flavors that can completely ruin a cup of coffee. Do any of these sound a little too familiar? That sharp, puckering sour taste, or maybe a weird, grassy, almost peanut shell kind of flavor? And of course, there's the classic weak and watery cup, or the one that's just aggressively bitter and makes your mouth feel dry. Well, these aren't random flaws. According to coffee scientists, every single one is a specific clue, basically a little message telling you exactly what went wrong when you were brewing. All right, it's time to crack the code. To really understand those clues, you've got to get your head around the two most important ideas in all of coffee brewing: strength and extraction. Seriously, if you can get these two right, you've basically unlocked the secret to amazing coffee. Okay, first up is strength. To put it simply, this is just how much coffee flavor is in the water. Is your coffee intense and bold, or is it kind of thin and watery? Strength is all about the quantity of flavor in your cup. It's the how much. And then you've got extraction. Now, this is all about which flavors you manage to pull out of the coffee grounds. Did you get all the sweet, complex, desirable ones? Or did you mostly get the sour ones that come out at the beginning, or the bitter ones that come out at the very end? Extraction is all about the quality of that flavor. It's the how. So, and this is the really crucial part. These are two totally different things. You can have a coffee that's really strong but poorly extracted. It's intense, but it's also super sour. Or you could have a weak but perfectly extracted coffee. All the flavors are pleasant, but there's just not enough of them. The goal, the whole shebang, is to get them both in perfect balance. So how in the world do we find that perfect balance? Well, this is where our map finally comes into play. This is the tool that shows us exactly where that sweet spot is hiding. And this isn't some new fad. Since way back in the 1950s, people at places like the Coffee Brewing Center have been doing tons of research, literally tasting thousands and thousands of cups of coffee to figure out scientifically what makes a cup of coffee taste great. And they put all that knowledge onto one brilliant chart. And here it is, the Coffee Brewing Control Chart. Now, I know it might look a little intense at first glance, but trust me, this is the professional's guide to a perfect brew. It really is our map. So look, on the vertical axis, you've got strength. Weak at the bottom, strong at the top. Easy enough. And on the horizontal axis, you have extraction. That's how much flavor you've pulled from the beans, from under-extracted on the left to over-extracted on the right. Okay, now check out this box right in the middle. This is what it's all about. This is our target, the golden zone. The science says that if your brew lands anywhere inside this box, you're going to have a coffee that is both strong enough and properly extracted. It's literally the zone of optimum flavor and perfect balance. So let's get into the specifics. All that research found that the ideal extraction, that flavor sweet spot, is when you dissolve between 18 and 22% of the coffee bean itself. If you get less than 18%, you get those sour, grassy, undeveloped flavors. If you go over 22%, you start pulling out all the bitter and harsh stuff. And as for strength, the sweet spot for the concentration of all that coffee goodness in your cup is between about 1.15% and 1.35%. This is what gives you a brew that has a really satisfying body and flavor without being, overpowering or disappointingly watery. This chart is brilliant because it shows you exactly what happens when you miss. So let's say you end up here in the top left corner. You've got high strength, meaning you used plenty of coffee, but your extraction was too low. The result? A strong, underdeveloped brew. It's going to be really potent, but also unpleasantly sour and sharp. Now let's swing over to the opposite problem. Say you land down here, in the bottom right. Here, you've got low strength, but really high extraction. This is what we call weak over-extracted coffee. It's going to taste thin and watery, but at the same time, it'll have this harsh, bitter bite to it. Not good. Okay, so you've got the map, you know exactly where the target is. But how do you actually steer your coffee into that golden zone? Well, it turns out you have three simple, really powerful levers you can pull. These are the three main things you can easily control at home. First, your coffee to water ratio. Think of this as your main steering wheel for strength. More coffee for the same amount of water means a stronger brew. Simple. The other two, grind size and time and temperature, are your main controls for extraction. They decide how much flavor you pull out of those coffee grounds. Let's talk about grind size for a second because this one is absolutely huge. Think about a sugar cube versus a spoonful of granulated sugar. Which one dissolves faster? The small granules, right? Because they have a way more surface area. It's the exact same idea with coffee. A finer grind means more surface area is touching the water, so all those flavors get extracted much, much faster. This is your main tool for moving left to right on our map to increase your extraction. And of course, temperature and time are just as important. The industry standard for your water temperature is just off a boil, somewhere between 195 and 205 degrees Fahrenheit. If it's too cold, you won't extract enough of the good stuff, and you'll end up on the sour, under-extracted side of our map. Too hot, and you'll literally scorch the grounds and pull out all those bitter flavors, pushing you way over to the right. And for a normal drip coffee, aiming for a total brew time of about 4 to 6 minutes is usually a great way to land right in that 18 to 22% extraction sweet spot. All right, this brings us to the final and, honestly, the most important part. We've gone over the map, we've talked about the tools. Now it's time to put it all together so you can diagnose your own coffee and start brewing like a total pro. Here it is, your simple 4-step loop to perfect coffee. Number 1, taste it. Don't just drink it, taste it. Is it sour? Okay, that means it's under-extracted. Is it bitter? That means it's over-extracted. Step 2, locate that result on your mental map. Step 3, adjust. And here's the key. Change one and only one thing. If it was sour, you need more extraction, so maybe try grinding just a little bit finer. And finally, step 4, repeat, brew it again, and taste the difference. And that really is the main lesson here. Just like the experts at the Specialty Coffee Association say in their handbook, great coffee is all about control. Once you understand these variables and how they connect to strength and extraction, you can finally stop guessing and start brewing with real intention. So you don't have to settle for hair-miss coffee anymore. You have the map, you have the tools, and now you have the knowledge to navigate your way to that perfect cup every single time. The only question left is, what are you going to brew tomorrow morning?